Hello. Oh, there we go. Let's get that in there. Yeah, and I've talked about this before, but I think it's bullshit when people talk about cleaning spaces because here's what you have to do when you clean a space. You got to clean it again. It just keeps going and going and going. Right now, this place is a fucking wreck. Actually, right now, it's probably a 7 out of 10. But you know why it's a 7 out of 10? Because I cleaned it. Yeah. Every fucking week. Something else. Like, well, it's got to stay clean. Well, you know what? It looks like shit. Okay? Looks like shit 5 days later, and then I've got to clean it again. So I don't want to have a full-time cleaning position, okay, of my house. I'd rather it just look like shit, and then I'll step over certain things and meander my way through. It's just something that I don't want to do. I was at the store, though, this past week, and I was in, I want to say, the freezer section, and I see this old woman, right? And this isn't like, she's the typical old woman you see, kind of like hunched over. She's got her cart, and, she's shopping. She's going through some things and things like that in the aisles. She was in the freezer section, and out whips out the fucking tissue. Tell me why every old person has a fucking tissue. Did I miss the memo? Is at some point like 67, like, oh, did you get your tissue? You better get your tissue because everything just starts to fall. What's going on there? And then if it honestly is, all right, if you are honestly wiping your fucking nose, which is disgusting, absolutely disgusting, okay, you should be ashamed of yourself. If you're wiping your nose that much and then they just throw it right back in their pocket, have you ever considered how fucking dirty that pocket is, or that tissue, or their hands? You should never touch an old person's hand, ever. God knows what they've touched. Fucking disgusting. All right, so we're going to pull it in here. We're going to do that. Okay, then we're just going to throw it right back in their pants, and we're going to fold it. They fold it over. They fucking fold a tissue all nice and neat, and then they push it back in your pocket like that. I got my tissue. You got your tissue? If you don't have your tissue, you can use my tissue if you want it. If you don't have a tissue. And when is it because it's not like one of those things to be like, oh yeah, my grandma does it. No, all of them. They all do it. So there's something about when you hit that 70s, 80s range. You need a tissue all the time, I guess. I don't even think they're wiping anything. Worse yet, at least and then how often are you changing out the tissue? All right, if you need the tissue, are you just going to the grocery store and then you're going to dismiss the tissue later? Or are you going to bring the tissue home and just keep it in those pants that you probably don't wash either because you're a gross, sick fuck? Who knows? I mean, you got to think about this. You can sympathize with the elderly people. You can feel sorry for them. And we all do, okay? There's not many people that don't feel bad for old people. But here's what you got to watch out for. The tissue. The fact that they probably don't shower a lot. They probably don't. Because you look at it, she can barely push this fucking cart. You think she's showering a lot? No, she's not. So just don't touch them. They're kind of like penguins. I went to the zoo this one time. Penguins smell like fucking ass. You're like, oh my God, what is that? Is that like a dead animal with shit coming out of it? It's covered in, if an animal died and then was also simultaneously covered in shit and then happened to piss on itself, that's what penguins smell like. And you're like, I never knew. I never knew when I saw these things that that's what they smell like. And they shit everywhere. They just shit everywhere, and then they swim in their shit water, and then they go up on their little beach and they get it all over themselves. It's disgusting. You never ever want to go to fuck penguins completely, entirely. And on top of that, this is something else that happened this week. I'm going and I'm not going to get too into the situation because the situation just pisses me off. But I'm going and I'm going to help somebody out, right? Okay. And they were like, do you know where you're going? I was like, yeah, I've got a pretty good fucking idea. Okay, thanks. And they were like, well, my address is... I was like, okay, now I 1000% know where I'm going. Thanks. And they go, well, you know, it's just after the CVS. You turn right, and then it's at the second light, and then there's a street that you're going to turn left on, and then you're going to go around the curb, and there's a tree, and that's where my house is. Didn't hear any of that. Thanks, though. In one ear, out the other. I'm driving. I have a phone. Fuck you. Yeah. What is the purpose of giving me directions when you gave me your address? Okay? Why did we need to do that? And then it's like, okay, like, I understand that might make sense to you because you've lived there for the past 13 years. But me, I didn't. So I don't really know the tree that we're talking about because there's a whole lot of them. And then there's also a lot of curbs too. That's basically the whole fucking road is curbed. So that could really be anywhere along the entire goddamn road is your house. So why don't you just stick with, don't even tell me the address. Don't do that either. Because fuck you if you tell me the address. That means that you're willing to let me pull out my cell phone and punch that shit in while I'm driving. Okay? Send it to me in a text. So much easier. But like, hey, by the way, I know you probably know where the fuck you're going, but I just wanted to make double extra sure, and I wanted to send you my address. I even took the time to send it to you, so you can just click on it, and then boom, right there, GPS is going to load to it, and that little Siri bitch is going to talk to you, and she's going to bring you right here. That's all I need. I don't need any of this, oh, it's after... You're going to go to the second light, and then there's going to be a turn where you're going to go left, and then there's, the neighbor has a cat that usually sits in the yard between 3 and 4, and if he's not there between 3 and 4, 5 and 6, he changes to the other side, and then they've got a tree, and then there's Bill that walks his dog, and then just say hi, and then just go ahead and park wherever, by that one mailbox. Okay? Yeah, I got that down, I think. I honestly, and I always try to be super honest. But that's the type of situation where right when you tell me that, I just want to say, fuck you. You know what? I'm not coming now. Yep. I'm going back. I know I drove an hour to get here. I'm not coming. I'm turning around. I'm going back home. And you can sit and reflect on your stupid ass as to why I didn't come. You can sit there, let that sink in. Oh man, I wonder why I didn't come. That's odd. I asked him if he knew where he was going. I gave him the address and I told him the exact steps and details of what's going on in my neighborhood and all that shit. I wonder why he didn't come. I gave him everything he needed. I gave him everything he needed to get here. Why didn't he come? Now this is something that I think it's crazy. I think it's absolute bullshit that your parents will kick you out after 27. I do. I think it's complete bullshit. You have these kids, they're a part of you, right? And then you're just like, oh, we'll see you guys. Toodaloo. Yeah, good luck out there. I know we didn't do our job. That's all right. You'll figure it out. Good luck out there. And then not only do they not help you out, they actually fuck you up with bad advice. You know, they're like, you know what you should do? You know what you should do? You should save for a car. Get yourself a nice place. Save for a car. That's good. That's a good place to start. Actually, that's a real fucking shitty place to start. Okay? We're going to drive a car that the only thing it's going to do is depreciate in value. It's going to break down, and I bet it's a real piece of shit car. It's not going to be cool after 2 weeks. Number two, a house fucking sucks. All right, you got to pay taxes and $250,000. That is the worst advice I've ever heard. My fucking 4-year-old niece could give better advice than that, okay? She'd probably be like, you know what? You should do what makes you happy. I'd be like, fuck, that's better advice than my parents did, because a mortgage of $250,000 fucking dollars and a piece of shit car, that's not going to make me too happy. But instead, they just kick you right out and just send you on your way. Skididdle-diddle-do. You should buy a car. Honey, that didn't work. I don't feel like that was good advice. We can't renege either. Well, just tell them you should buy a house. Fucking try that. That's bigger and better. Honey, that's not working either. What should we do? You know what you guys should do? You guys, get this. I know what you should do. I'm real confident this time. I know what you should do. You should buy a fucking boat. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, I guess I should buy a boat. You know why they tell you to buy a boat? It's because they don't have the goddamn money to buy a fucking boat. And they kicked you out at 27. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. What we should do is we should all stick to fucking together. Imagine that, right? Imagine if you're making 50, 60K and your dad, maybe he's making 60, 70, maybe 80K because he's a little bit older. And then maybe your mom's making some money too. And then you could bring in a wife or a girlfriend, and then all your fucking siblings, they could get married and bring in their spouses. Before you know it, we're bringing in like $500,000 a year. And we could buy some real dope ass shit. We could buy a fucking big ass house, like a 16 to 20 to fucking maybe like 30 room house, right? And everyone could have their own sections. That'd be a lot cooler. But, you know, and I think we should stick together. We're all blood here. There's 7 billion people on the planet. And you're trying to fucking kick me out? We should stick together. Things could get real bad real quick. We should all stick together, combine our forces. Hey, let's just pick a name. None of this other bullshit either. Why do we have to go changing names? All this different bullshit? Let's just pick one. One that the majority of everybody agrees upon. The little bitch losers that don't make a lot of money, they don't get a say in it. We just toss them our breadsticks for the evening. Here, take your breadsticks. And then we work and we act from that position. That is a much stronger position if we act from that. And then, you know, I mean, we could be a whole fucking group. We could get the guys that are, you know, with the more redneck country ones to chop the wood, build the fires. We could get the little pussy-ass bitches to go work and sit in offices and make the big bucks. And then we could get other ones that are somewhere in the middle. The fuck-ups would have somewhere. Imagine that, right? Instead of every kid that's named Billy and 19, that's a complete fuck-up, being in college and fucking out of school, right? Just all F's. He could then be like, yeah, you know what? I fucked up in school. I fucked up real bad. But I live in a 30-room house. We bring in a net of $500,000 a year. What do you do, Billy? We've got a little group. We've got a special group, and that's what we do with that. Imagine that. Billy could just sit around and watch Netflix for the rest of his life and maybe contribute in some other way. You know, because we've got so many different forces coming in that contribute to different areas of the family and all that shit, that Billy can just watch Netflix and tell jokes. Speaking of Netflix is getting real crazy. Man, there's certain things out there, like I've talked about, the government, man. Government fucked me, man. What happened to you? The government fucked me. Everybody's worried about the government. What you should be worried about is Netflix. Okay? Think about how the government tries to influence people. Everyone's like, fuck you. All right, yeah, I'm sure. How many people even listen to the simple rules like speeding? 55 through here. Oh, okay. Watch me do 80, bitch. Right? Because you do. You know? You just do. Then imagine the more complex things. Like, yeah, we really don't listen there because we don't even know what the fuck. I mean, how many fucking... Actually, think about that. How many fucking rules are there that you have to abide to? Actual rules. There's a lot of them. Right? There's the whole fucking Constitution. I don't know one of those. I don't know anything that's in that. But Netflix, man, they influence people like a motherfucker. It just depends on what they throw out. Because I can get on and all of a sudden I see all these girls posting about Ted Bundy. Oh, Ted Bundy, he's so romantic. Why did they ever put him in prison? I just don't get it. Those poor girls that were trying to marry them had to let their spouse die. All he did was just kill a few people. He ain't do nothing harming. To be honest, I think it's sexy how manipulative he was. He was persuasive. At least he worked hard. He's a real man. And depending on the day, man, I tell you, you fucking get on Snapchat or Instagram stories and you watch that shit. Watching the new Ted Bundy. Here I am. Watching me abducted in plain sight. I just love a real man. You're not a real man if you don't kill 40 girls and tape their tits onto your chest. Really? Wow, that's fucking crazy. I guess I'm not a real man. And they've got everyone. Man, I tell you, they've got fucking everyone. One day I'm like, oh, I should call my grandma. You already know where this is going, don't you? Yep. And she's like, oh, you know, honey, I'm starting to watch this new show. I was like, oh, really? What's it about? She goes, it's called You. And you know what he does? He's a psychopath. And he stalks this girl for like a whole bunch of time. And then he kills her boyfriend so that he can become her boyfriend. And he always intervenes and he maps the whole thing out to where he becomes her, with her. And I was like, that sounds fucking weird. That sounds real fucking weird. I don't know why you're watching that. You know? And then she's telling me, she's watching this other show. She's like, it won an Oscar. I'm like, okay, tell me what it's about. And she goes, well, it's basically an entire city and the whole world is in mayhem. And basically there's only a few men and they have sex with all the women. I was like, again, sounds real fucking weird. Why are you watching that? And then, I mean, they just don't think, they're like, I don't think they think about why they're watching it. I think they just watch it. They're just like, oh, that sounds men that abuse women. That sounds very romantic. Very enticing. I think I would like to try that out. My husband is only very, very loving and caring and providing and very respectful. That sounds so fucking boring. I can really just appreciate a man that punches me in the face. And women do. It is crazy. Now, I'm sure there's some out there. I'm sure there's just some fucking crazy lunatic men. But women like it. I don't understand. They're like, oh, yeah. There's just something about when he punches that bitch in the face. I'm just going to go ahead and cross up my legs here real tight because, man, am I getting real wet. I'm getting real wet down there. Someone just give me a blow dryer. Sit there and watch Netflix with the blow dryer aimed on your pussy because that's what's going to need to happen. I don't understand. All right? And you know what? Men, for the most part, they're pretty rational. They pretty are. Pretty much, they are. You know what? I say some crazy shit, and they're like, that's fucking weird. And I'm like, that's fair. Women, it's a whole nother world. Okay? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just a whole nother fucking world. When was the last time that you wanted to be physically beaten during sex? Like, oh, right? They're like, bite me, punch me. You're like, what the fuck? No. There is no part of me that wants to do that. Although I must say, I got myself a little surprise this week. There was a purpose behind it too, but then I thought, no, maybe I might just treat myself a little bit, and use it. I went out and I bought some lube, and let me tell you, this shit is great. It is like, all right, if you can imagine a girl's mouth that you controlled. That's what it's like. Okay? Because it's like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of potential here. You know, Susan, I see a lot of potential in you. I really do. Your lips are 10 out of 10. That tongue, wild. There's a lot of potential for you, but you just aren't using it. Okay? You have no idea how talented you are, and you're wasting your gifts. You're wasting your gifts with your laziness, your procrastination. You are unmotivated and untactful. You could be the best. You could be the absolute best out there, Susan. You really could. I believe in you, but you throw your potential away. Every fucking time. And they do. They really do. They throw their potential away. But this is like a girl's mouth that you can control. And man, does it go wild. Okay, you put some of that stuff on and it just, pooh! It's got a warning label on it. It says, don't spill any because it's a slippery hazard. Whoa! Whoa! Man. Well, I got a concussion. What'd you get a concussion from? Stuff, you know. I bought some lube and the bottle said not to spill it, but I didn't really take that serious, and I was spilled it, and then I fell, and I hit my head, and now I got a concussion. And let me just tell you, though, this shit works. Man, it's crazy, and you put it on your hands, and oh, man, you just go to town. I wasn't sure if I could handle it. I was like, oh, God. I was like, this is like, I will tell you, I was a little bit scared. I mean, I had it on there. I was like, oh, fuck, man, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, this is not feeling good, man. Like, in a really good way, it wasn't feeling good. So, like, I was, like, a little bit scared. And I was like, oh, shit, man. Like, this is not going to be good. Let's make sure we know where we're pointing things. And let's just, like, yeah. So, I mean, I was continuing in the activity, and I was like, oh man, yeah, no, this is not like, I don't know, I should stop and wipe this off and just not do that, because I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, oh man, on second thought, yeah, that would be pretty wild. And then I was like, oh boy, though, if you're gonna actually take this step, you need to take this seriously, and you need to fucking take this seriously, and like really, like, you should like fasten yourself down and like get ready, man. And I was like, oh shit, okay, all right, you want to do this? And it was like, yeah, I want to do this. I was like, okay, here we go, I'm gonna do it too. He's like, oh yeah, let's fucking do it. And I was like, yeah, you ready? I was like, I'm fucking ready. Let's do it. I was like, I like two hands, man. I like took two hands, and I was like, okay. You give it to me, I'll fucking give it to you. And I was like, oh yeah, 100%, bro, definitely. And like we did like a virtual fucking fist bump where I was like, oh yeah, you got me, I got you. And then we did it, and I was like, oh shit! And it was like, bad. It was like really bad. Like I just turned on my shower, and you know how you can with the faucet, the shower head, you can like turn it. I just did that. That was cleanup face. And it was just like, and I was like, oh God, what happened in here? Like, what is this? And it was, in fact, I mean, there's still like the magic worker is still in my shower right now. I didn't even like, I was just like, okay, like I don't know where to put this weapon. And I was like, I probably shouldn't leave this thing out, man. Like this is like, people shouldn't know that I have this powerful weapon, not just because they'll judge me, but like this is a powerful weapon. There should be warning labels on this type of thing. Like you need to know, like it's like a fucking seizure. And if you're prone to having seizures and you do that, I don't think it's going to be good. I'm a perfectly healthy 20-year-old male. I don't think it's going to be good. Like, it wasn't. It was like it was like, oh man, this is real serious shit here. And I was so excited when I was like, oh, the whole way driving home, I was like, oh, fuck yes. I was like doing like, I was like looking over at the passenger seat. I was like, you know, I was like trying to drive and like focus. I was like kept looking. I was like, oh no. Until next time. Yeah, Mama.
Are you about ready to get out?
Yes. Give me 10 minutes or so and I'll be down.